Hi friends, this is Laura, aka Lulu Sketches. In case you're new here, I am a visual development artist in the animation industry. I have gotten so many requests for an art book collection update video ever since I filmed my first art book collection video back in 2019. Like 2 weeks after I posted that video, people were already asking for an update. How often are you guys buying art books? Since it's been 2 years, I have a few more books in my collection. I'll go over all my new books as well as my old books, and sorry if I repeat myself, I don't remember what I said 2 years ago, but I will link that video down below in case you guys want to watch it. And just a reminder, art books are fun to browse and get inspired by, but they are not necessary for you to improve as an artist. Don't feel like you need to buy expensive art books in order to learn. You can find everything you need online. A lot of the art of books that I enjoy, the artists post their art online, so in case you're new here, these are my dogs. This is the lovely Mabel, and this is the wild Huxley. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I'll tell you guys more about that in a bit, and I have a discount code for you guys, so stay tuned. Okay, let's get started on my art book collection. Come here. Try to come sit up here with me. I know, it's awful. So, first we have Framed Ink. This is a new one, and I've already read through it a lot. You can see all my little notes here. This book talks a lot about composition and framing shots, the type of lenses used in filmmaking, because that's part of the process even in animation. There's a lot of information. It's not just pictures in this book. There's a lot to read. What else did I mark here? Elements in a composition, focal points. It is just chock full of useful information. Okay, next. These are just gonna be in a random order because they're really heavy and they're just piled up in this order, so this is not a ranking. Next is Monsters University. I've had this book for a long time, so it was in my last video. I love the art in this book because I love the color choices. I love the room designs they have in here. We have paintings by Dai Suzume. He is one of my favorite artists. I know this one was in my original video, so I won't spend too long on it. Next we have Ratatouille. This is another one that was in my original video. Okay, so Ratatouille is incredible. I love seeing the drawings by Carter Goodrich. I actually saw a bunch of these when I was at an exhibition in Paris. I went to a Pixar exhibition there, and they had a bunch of Carter Goodrich originals. They also had some originals by Matt Nolte. In case you're not familiar with Carter Goodrich, these are a couple of his drawings, some Matt Nolte drawings. And it has really beautiful environments. This bottom one is a matte painting. This top one is pastel. Moving on. Another new one, this is the art of Raya and the Last Dragon. I loved this movie, and Helen Chen is one of my favorite artists of all time, and she was the production designer on this film. She actually drew the cover. Ami Thompson did a ton of the characters for this movie, and she's one of my favorite character designers. Here are some beautiful paintings by Helen Chen. There's a ton of environments by Helen Chen, by Mehrdad Esvandi, which I am obsessed with his work too, and Paul Felix. Here are some of Ami's character drawings over here. And I love the designs for the dragons. There's a ton of amazing drawings by Scott Watanabe. He posts a lot of stuff on his Instagram too. He just made an Instagram, and I'm obsessed with his work. A lot of his stuff reminds me of like a Miyazaki film, and that is one of the highest compliments I can give an artist. Here are a bunch more drawings by Ami Thompson and Corey Loftus. So just a ton of my favorite artists worked on this film. Next is the art of Soul. I loved this movie too. My favorite artwork for this movie were color keys, actually. Here's a couple of my favorite pages. These are beautiful color keys, environment design. This one's Camilo Castro. Here's another of my favorite couple pages. I just love the city streets in this movie. Here's another one by Camilo Castro, another city design. I love these character interactions. More environment design, interior design. And here are my last favorite pages because I mentioned the color keys, the lighting keys. I wish they could put the entire color script in this, but I mean, these are just incredible, and these are by Carlos Felipe Leon. I'm gonna take a quick break so I can tell you guys about today's sponsor, Squarespace. So my favorite thing about Squarespace templates is how clean and easy to navigate they are. There are a ton of template options that work for portfolio sites. Also, it gives you the ability to separate your portfolio into categories so it stays focused. That way, if you have a couple interests in animation, such as character design and storyboarding, you can have a category for each. Then if you're applying to a storyboarding position, the studio will know exactly where to look. On my portfolio, I plan to eventually have a category for each project that I've worked on, but a lot of the stuff I worked on isn't gonna be out for years, so that might be a while. My personal favorite part of my Squarespace portfolio is the automatic image scaling. No matter what random ass sizes I selected for my paintings, they'll all fit together like a puzzle. It just saves me a lot of time. I don't have to go in and format each of my paintings so they look presentable all together. I have a discount for you guys to start your own Squarespace portfolios. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/LaraPrice for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Back to my updated art book collection. Next is The Art of Brave. I talked about this in my last video. This is one of my favorite art books. The muted colors and the Scotland vibe, and then the bear designs and all these drawings by Carter Goodrich. Look at those. I saw some of these in person at the Pixar exhibition. Bear drawings by Matt Nolte. But I know I already talked about this a lot in my last video, so moving on. Okay, next we have The Art of Zootopia. This is another book I already had and I talked about in my last video. I really love the environments by Cory Loftis in this book. Here's one of my favorites of Cory's environments. There's a bunch of character design by Cory Loftis, Shi-Yun Kim, another couple Viz Dev pieces by Cory Loftis. Moving on. Next, I have a couple books of art by Oga Katsuo. He's done a lot of backgrounds in Miyazaki films, so you'd probably recognize a lot of these backgrounds if you're a fan of Miyazaki films. These books are entirely in Japanese. And this one has paintings from My Neighbor Totoro, Only Yesterday, and more. Here's one of the pages. But I already talked about these in my last video. Let's move on. Next is The Animator's Survival Kit. I already talked about this book in my last video, but it's by Richard Williams, and it really just has a lot of the basics of animation. So if you're interested in 2D animation, character design, making characters move, then this may be a book you'd be interested in. Next is The Art of the Croods. This was my top favorite art book of all my art books in my last video. And actually, I have a new favorite, but this one's still one of my all-time favorites. This has some of the best visual development of any film I've seen. The book is just completely full of environments and characters and just full pages of environments. They are super inspiring. This is a new book I bought. This is called Vignettes. So this is personal art of Armand Serrano. He's one of my favorite visual development artists. He's so inspiring. He just drew this on the spot while signing this book for me. I really love how he paints environments. Here is a step-by-step of one of his environment paintings. He shows how he paints with the lasso tool. It's just really interesting. I love his artwork. Okay, this is an obvious one. The Art of Tangled. This is one of my favorite art books ever. I worked on Tangled, the series, for many years. I worked on every episode of that. You guys already know how I feel about this film and this book. I love them, and it's one of my favorites. And I think I've talked about it in like 3 videos now, so moving on. Next is my favorite top #1 art book. In case you guys didn't already guess, it is The Art of Spider-Verse. Just looking through it, I felt like this book had so much more art in it than a lot of the Disney art of books. The Spider-Verse book is physically wider and larger than the Disney art of books. So I love the way it's organized, and I love the sheer amount of environments in it, like printed so large in the book. I'm obsessed with the art style in this. You can probably see in my own art, it's been very inspired by Spider-Verse ever since it came out. It actually inspired me to start drawing and painting cities. So there's a ton of amazing environments by Patrick O'Keefe, the art director, Yuki Dimmers, he's one of my favorite visual development artists. A lot of work by Rob Ruppel, Alberto Mielgo. So it's a really nice mix of characters and color and environments. Here's a couple pages about Mary Jane. I love how they kept it really digital and looking like a comic book. More incredible artwork. Zach Retz has a lot of paintings in this book. Here's one by Yuki. Actually, the painting behind me is also by Yuki. I'm a big fan of his work. This painting is by Peter Chan. Some more of my favorite designs and paintings. I mean, it's like every single page. I love everything. Next is the art of Princess Mononoke. This was in my last video. Look at those Ashitaka drawings. I love this movie. I love this book. It has background paintings too. Here are a couple really cool storyboards. Here's another one. This was in my last video. This is the Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia. If I remember correctly, this came out around the same time as Skyward Sword, so it's mostly Skyward Sword art, but there's also art from Twilight Princess, some really old Ocarina of Time art in here. Here's Wind Waker. Oh, here's a little for Majora's Mask. I actually just played Majora's Mask again all the way through. Just beat it last week and I'm just really sad it's over. I'm always really sad when I beat one of these games. At least they let you keep like the final mask in that. Here is some art from Ocarina of Time. But mostly Skyward Sword, which is one of my least favorite Zelda games. Mostly because of the motion controls. So actually, my husband just gifted me Skyward Sword for Switch, which I really wanted to try because the motion controls are optional, so I'm just gonna turn them off and see if I enjoy the game more. Great, the neighbors just started vacuuming. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. Next we have the art of Frozen. This was in my original video. I love this art book. I really love the costume designs in this book, and I really love the character interactions by Minky Lee. So here's some costume design. More amazing biz dev and costuming. Here's one of the character interactions I was talking about by Minky Lee. Okay, next is the art of Inside Out. My favorite drawings from this book are probably the interiors here. Next is the art of Moana. I already talked about this in my last video. In this book, I really love the paintings by Ryan Lang. So these are Ryan Lang. Here's Lisa Keane over here. I'm just so impressed by the way they paint the water. Here's one by Kevin Nelson. The art of Big Hero 6. This is one I talked about in my last video. I still do have a couple new books that I'm gonna go over once we get through these. I really love the city street drawings in this, and I really love the bedroom designs of Hero's bedroom. And I love Shiun Kim's work in this and Jin Kim's drawings. This is one of my favorite drawings of Tadashi. This one's by Shiun Kim. Here's some of Jin Kim's work. I really love the way that Shiun Kim draws Go-Go as well as Jin Kim. Next, the art of Up. I love how the characters are each based on very basic shapes. My favorites in this book are probably the interior paintings, but I really love some of these really detailed drawings of Carl. These are all by Daniel Lopez Munoz. Next one is How to Train Your Dragon. This was definitely my last video because I've had this book for a long time. I love this movie. This book has some incredible character design by Nico Marley. This is his work. Almost all of it is in like an orange pencil in this book. More of Nico's work. I'm sure I just talked all about Nico Marley in my last video when I talked about this book. I have two more books and they're both new. First is The Art of Loish, and second is The Sketchbook of Loish. I've been a fan of Loish for a very long time. I originally put my art on DeviantArt and I followed her on there. Her art is just a joy to look at, and it just has some of her really pretty personal paintings. I love all her self-portraits. It was really fun to see them all on one page here. She even put some of her really old artwork in here to show just how much she's improved. This one is one of my favorite drawings of hers, the Cafe Press drawing, and she shows the entire process from beginning to finish, from her first sketch, and then moving through, cleaning the sketch, adding colors. I remember when she first posted this piece on DeviantArt. I was just blown away and just so impressed by her. And I really enjoyed that book, so when this second book became available, I bought this one too. This has a ton from inside her sketchbook. Here's some of her really old drawings again. She even has like a basic tutorial here for creating a digital illustration. She shows her process where she does thumbnail sketches and how she figures out what colors to use. She does the same process with an environment piece as well. And those are my last books. One that is on my list to buy is The Art of Luca. I absolutely love that movie, and I've loved all of the artwork I've seen posted online for it. You also may have noticed that I no longer have the Illusion of Life book. It didn't bring me joy, so I gave it away. Thank you, Marie Kondo. That is my entire art book collection in 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. See ya.